everybody, it's tequila time. Couple things this evening. We're gonna pop open a new bottle, but it's an old bottle to me. What you found in the thumbnail is that we are going to open and do a tasting of 1146. Now, there's a lot of people that I know that have tried this. They love it. This has been called a baby tears. I don't necessarily agree with that because of who makes it. This to me is a baby Fonseca. This has spent, about 28 months in two different barrels, 14 and 14 in two different barrels. One was a Cabernet barrel, then it was American White Oak barrel that had either Canadian whiskey or rye in it. Then they used a Mendoza wine yeast strain for the fermentation. Of course, this is at 80 proof or 40%. They use an autoclave at low pressure, and then they use a screw mill and or a roller mill to extract the juices from the cooked agave. And then the distillation is done in stainless steel. They do use a column still at 1146, and they also use the copper pot still for the second distillation. Enrique Fonseca is the master distiller. This is his beautiful product. We're going to pop this open in a minute and give this some tasting. I got some tasting notes I got off of that, as well as what we'll find when we taste it. But before we go that far, somebody is doing another in-bottle aging project. I'm just getting started on it. I picked up a bottle of Yayo High Proof. There we go, without the glare. We're going to do in-bottle aging on this. I have a bottle, I have a stave. What's the word I want to use? I'm seasoning it. Here it is right here. I got it in a little Glencairn. We've got a little liquid in the stave. I don't know if you can see that. There's the chunk of wood in there. I have it in the glass because the bag leaks. Anyway, but we're seasoning it with something that I picked up a little while ago. I have bourbon on hand for those that want to drink bourbon, and I partake occasionally. My preference though is tequila, but I came across this particular bottle, and what piqued my interest was the aromas, the tasting notes, the finishing notes of this particular bourbon. And this bourbon is a Frey Ranch single barrel. One of the owners, or the owner, Colby, this was his little pick. He gave it a name. That particular barrel is Orange Ugladama Bourbon. It has a lot of orange and orange zest notes and sugary orange notes to the aroma, to the palate. The finish is dark chocolate and cordial cherries, according to them. Now, I get the orange, especially on the aroma. I do get it on the palate some. The finishing notes, I need to proof this down because I've only tried it at barrel strength, which is 120.6 proof. I want to get this down to where I can get more of the finishing notes on it. And that may happen sooner or later. But I like doing in-bottle aging using seasoning my stave or my spiral stick with a high-proof liquor of choice. Just from my past experiments. And putting it in to a high-proof tequila, preferably a Blanco. You don't really want to age the other ones any more than they are. I am going for an añejo with this. So this stick is going to be in there a while. Usually I can get a really nice reposado in about 5 days using the stave. So what I'll do, now that this is wet, and I'm going to leave this wet for a couple more days, I will take it out. I will take a string wrap around it, I'll hang it up and let it dry. to let the alcohol evaporate off of the wood, leaving all those flavors behind. And then we'll drop that into the bottle of tequila. And then we'll let it set till I decide I want to take it out. So that's in the plans, and then we'll taste that online. I keep looking at myself in the monitor, and I don't know what I did. I had a bloodshot eye all of a sudden. Allergies, got something in there. It doesn't itch, but it just, what did I do to my eye? But anyway, that's in the works. Looking forward to playing with that a little bit. I have another bottle that's on its way. I got a bottle of high proof, barrel strength, cast strength. No, it'd be barrel. No, cast. No. I'm losing my mind because it's the Blanco. Because it's not still strength, Suerte. It's at 104. It's on its way here. I'm going to do an in-bottle aging on it as well, even though I really like it as a Blanco. I'm going to try something with it. And I'm going to have to make a trip probably to my big box store to find a small bottle of sherry. And I'm going to find my French oak stave, which is in my box of in-bottle aging stuff. And I'm probably going to retoast it. And then we're going to put it in some sherry. And then we're going to leave that in there for a while. I want that to be good and it's just completely soaked with the sherry. And then again, pull it out, let it dry, let the alcohol evaporate. And then we're going to drop it down into that bottle of Suerte. So we'll have a American oak bourbon finished Yayo. Like I said, I'm trying for an Anejo, and probably the same. I may go repo on the Suerte still strength. We'll see how that turns out. One, I don't have the sherry, and two, I don't have that bottle of tequila yet. So we're working on it. Let's get to, while I'm opening this. Let's get a glass. We have a glass. I need a knife. Okay, or a sharp blade. So some of the notes on this, on the nose, they're telling me I should be tasting some butterscotch, citrus, baking spices with some vanilla. And if memory serves me right, yeah, you're going to get some of those. I got a lot of fruit on the past bottles that I've had of this. Which is why I was, Anejo. This was one of the best tasting Anejos I had up to that point. Because of the French oak for 14 months and then the American oak for 14 months. It gives a little over 2 years aging before they bottled it. Ooh, that smells good. Let's get it into a glass and let it air out a little bit. All right. Look at that. That is beautiful juice. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I need to get... Num, 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 num. So then, we're letting this air out. On the palate is toffee, walnut candy. Custard, orange zest, and dark chocolate. I think that fruit note that I was originally when I had this before. Now, this is like my third or fourth bottle of this. And those other three were long before we started doing the YouTube channel. So I thought, one, I found this for a very reasonable price. And was happy, to be able to acquire it due to its because that's one of the reasons I haven't had it in so long is that the price on this went from being I don't know, $88. And then it jumped to $125. And then it went to like $185. And then it started coming back down. And then I happened to be at party time in Olathe, and he had it for $99. And I'm like, mine. So that is why it is here. Oh, yeah. I'm getting the citrus. Cooked agave. A little stopped up. That's maybe why my eyes messed up. Really nice. I'm not getting a butterscotch on the nose, but my sinuses today are really messed up. So let's give her a taste. That is so, wow. I could get in trouble with this stuff. Very fruit forward, sweet cooked agave on the front. Those two right there. As it eases back in, I got a little bit of dark, and I mean dark, like German type dark chocolate notes on the back of the throat. Little bit of burn. I'm not burn. I should say pepper. It's my first sip of alcohol for the day, so it's going to be a little burny. But we're going to go and we're going to try this again on second sip. But it was really good. Wow. Like I said, everybody that I have given samples to or done a pour for has really enjoyed this. I mean, this is not it can be a first pour of the evening. I'd put it right in there with as a dessert type añejo. Because of its age, it doesn't make it any farther than an añejo. But Enrique Fonseca, he does like one Blanco and everything else, most everything else he does under the Punta Seca brand, are all añejos, extra añejos. I think he starts at 4 years and goes all the way up to 18 to 24 years. So and he uses a mix of barrels. I'm sure he uses probably some ex-cognac barrels, some ex-wine barrels, some ex-American bourbon barrels, all of that to get the flavor profile that he wants. And then he does a really, which I have not tasted yet, but I know that he does a really, really good Blanco. Punta Seca, I think is what it is. And wow. Just amazing. The things that he does. I mean, he went to either Ireland, I think it was Scotland, to learn how to distill from the guys that make scotch, and brought that knowledge back using but the distillery that he bought had a column still, and so he put in a pot still, and then he had the column still, and he's like, well, why can't I do first distillation with the column still and then finish it off in the copper pot still? There's no reason why, because you're going to get most of your finish on your second distillation. And he took out plates. So if you know what a column still is, it's a long cylindrical tube, and it has steam plates all the way to the top. And as it heats up the fermented liquid, turns that off to steam, the alcohol goes off. And the more plates you do, the faster it goes. Well, he slowed it down. He took out plates and slowed it down a little bit, and then finishes it off in the copper pot still. Enough talking about that. Let's get back to second sip. Wow. Wow. I get a little bit of that toffee. I don't get walnuts. But then there's something there I can't put my finger on, so we'll call it the walnuts. But I do get the where they would get custard from, unless there's a light vanilla creamy note to it. Maybe that's where that's coming from. I do get the orange zest and a little bit of the bitter chocolate on the back. Delicious, delicious, delicious. If you can find this at a, there we go, at a reasonable price, buy it. Buy it. You like it. I promise. If you like a well-rounded añejo that has fruit notes as well as some of the, the baking spices that you would get from a bourbon barrel aged añejo, you add that wine, that Cabernet wine barrel to it, and it just brings out the fruit notes, one between the French oak and the wine. Delicious, delicious, delicious. So, still working on this new camera setup, me not looking at the screen and looking at the camera. Sorry. I'm going to have to go find me a little mirror, hang it underneath so I can see my face without having to look over there. Anyway, a couple things going on. Week from today, this is Thursday. I will be posting this on Friday. But on Thursday, the 16th, the Kansas City Tequila Hunters Club is hosting a open bottle share. If you would like to come and join, please come. It's at Old Shawnee Pizza. I'll put the little up on the screen, and so you'll know where we're at what time. Look very excited to this. I am bringing 4 bottles for sure. It'll be Ramari, Blanco, and Repo that has sake yeast in the fermentation. And then I will be bringing Culturo 100 High Proof Blanco and Reposado for people to try. I may bring a 5th bottle. I don't know what that's going to be yet. Just quite excited yet. I'm wanting to make a tequila hunting trip possibly this weekend. I've got 1 or 2 bottles I had my eye on. I really don't need to buy any more tequila, but I got a couple bottles in mind. One is a new high proof Blanco from Zumbador. I'm looking for that. And I just saw an ad on a certain Facebook page about somebody having some barrel strength Ocho Repisado. Might be looking for that. I would like to find a backup to my backup. I do have a bottle up there, over there. Nope, over there. Over there on the top. Yeah, up in there. I have a bottle up there, and I believe it's not open. We kind of wanting to try it again. I know Will opened his bottle, one of his bottles at the saloon at Old Shawnee Pizza. When we did the Lagrimas tasting, because he was happy and he wanted to share. And I said, you open that, it's going to be gone. He goes, yeah. I've never tried it. I said, well, you better get trying. And he tried it and went, oh my. And I said, oh yeah. Now you know why that's so good at barrel strength. I said the añejo is just as nice too. But have one of those as well. Anyway, what else? That's about it. Like I said, we will be doing some in-bottle aging as things come along. I do need to go find a bottle of sherry. But I want a little bottle. Little bottle. I don't need a big bottle. I'm not going to drink it. I'm just going to age wood in it. That's how I did my first. I did the French oak in a, I believe it was either a Cabernet or a Bordeaux wine. I soaked my French oak stave in that. I was trying to make my home version of Fleur-de-Lis Winter Blend. And so I was using 3 different wood staves. I broke down a bottle of Fleur-de-Lis Still Strength into 3 bottles, aged them separately, and then knowing kind of what I wanted percentage-wise, and then dumped it all together. Gave it a good shake, and it was really, really good. But it's gone. Yeah. What else? I think that's about it. So we'll wrap this up real quick, and I'll get this out for tomorrow. And so again, if you drink good tequila, like this, it'll be good to you. So salute, my friends. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.